Hey there, it's Steve from Serious Keto, and in this video, we are gonna make some tallow. I don't have a whole lot of regrets in life, but one of the regrets that I do have is when I think about all of the fat that I have trimmed off of various animal product and thrown away. This stuff is liquid gold. Whether we're talking pork fat or lard, chicken fat or schmaltz, duck fat, also good, or beef fat, tallow, which is what we're going to be making in this video. And I mean, seriously, if you have never cooked anything in tallow, you are in for a treat. I like searing steaks in tallow. It's like beef on beef. It just doesn't get much better than that. So right here I have a packer brisket. That means it's a whole brisket. It includes both the fat and the point. Now for this video, I'm not going to get into the whole process of breaking down a brisket. My goal here is just to trim up the excess fat and get it rendering. Now you want to have some fat on your brisket when you're cooking it, whether you're making corned beef brisket or whether you're smoking it. But this has got some significant fat on it. And I'm sure between the point and the flat, we're going to find a bunch more fat that I can use. So we're going to take some of this off, throw it into a crock pot. So we've got everything carved up. We had a great big flat here that I'll be able to smoke. The point I'm probably going to cut into cubes and then grind along with some short rib meat and some chuck and make a custom ground beef blend for gourmet burgers. And then I've got 4.5 pounds of fat. I'm going to slice this up into some smaller chunks, and then this is going into the crock pot. And then into the crock pot on low, we're going to go with all of our fat. So our fat has been rendering overnight, and I kind of feel that we're to the point that it's given up about as much tallow as it's going to give me. Kind of what I got left is a bunch of crispy bits and little chunks of meat that found their way into it. So now we're going to strain it out, portion it, and store it. I've got a large strainer here over a bowl. I'll start pulling out all my crispy bits. All right, I think that's about as good as it's going to get with the slotted spoon. So next we will pour this through a fine strainer. I poured the strained tallow from my crispy bits back into my crock pot. If I were braver, I would dump the crock pot directly through this sieve, but I have a feeling I'm going to make a big mess. So instead, I'm going to start with the ladle. And now that I've got most of it out, I'm just going to dump the rest through. At this point, you can decide how anal retentive you are. And I'm kind of anal retentive, so I'm actually going to run this through some coffee filters to really clear up any of that particulate that's still left in there. If you do decide to go through this process, expect that it's going to take you about 10 minutes and probably about the same number of filters, 10 or more. So after filtering, I wound up with about 4.5 cups of this liquid gold. I'm going to take part of it and portion it into tablespoon-sized servings. I'm using one of my fat bomb trays for this. It's good to have these portions of tallow for times like when you want to sear up a steak. Wow, I couldn't have planned that any better. So this will move to the freezer until it firms up, then we'll put it in a Ziploc bag. The rest of the tallow, I'm just going to pour onto my current stash. And this will go into the fridge where it'll keep essentially forever. Not that it's going to last that long. Now there's some of you who might be saying, man, that seems like an awful lot of work. If you're saying that, my guess is you've never cooked anything in tallow, because it is worth every bit of work. In fact, most of the work is inactive time on all of this. It's just waiting for the crock pot to do its thing and render your fat for you. Really, the only actual work is carving up all the fat. And you can probably just go to your butcher and ask for any fat scrap that he might have. And then you can make the decision if you want to filter out and really kind of purify your tallow the way I did. Again, it's one of those things, you pour it over the coffee filter, you come back in 5 minutes, swap out another coffee filter. A lot of inactive time. So if you've never tried tallow, I really encourage you to do this. It is so incredibly good. And once you do it, you're probably going to find yourself feeling what I felt, which is shame at all of the fat that you've carved off and wasted over the years. So make some tallow and do some cooking with it. Maybe you're searing up a steak, maybe you're browning some turnip cubes or something. Give it a try. I guarantee it's going to blow your mind. Thanks for watching.